emphasis.
We think going to a service makes us a Christian.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So here we are about to hear the second time Pastor J wanted to take a tattoo.
Would have been late last year and early this year.
Oh gosh.
Hope Unfiltered podcast with Pastor J and Ren.
Money is something we all deal with, but how many of us truly understand it? What if you could make better decisions with your money? Decisions that secure your future, protect your family, and bring you peace of mind. I'm Darren Jacobs, and I'm here to help you make sense of your dollars. Welcome to Dollars and Cents, the show that breaks down the financial world in ways that matter to you. No jargon, no confusion, just real conversations about money, your money. So join me every Wednesday at 10 a.m. on WESN for Dollars and Cents.
Knowing how to tell authentic is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Find it, match it, search it. Step 1. Find the style number on the tag. Step 2. Match the style number inside the jersey with the number on the tag. Step 3. Search it. A quick Google search of the style number will verify the jersey is authentic when the search results match the jersey being searched. Don't be fooled by counterfeit jerseys. Before you buy, remember to find it, match it, search it.
Fan Zone, 2 locations nationwide. Center City Mall, Chaguanas, and Movietown, Port of Spain. Nationwide delivery available.
As always, we appreciate you starting your day with us. Let's get into this morning's first conversation.
Is the country's healthcare system more at risk more than ever?
Why it has remained unaddressed for so long.
Political parties get lots of cash, big cash from financiers, and then when they get that now, you can't account for it.
But it's really the specialist nurses who we are in a greater shortfall for.
We can tap into the resources and have them, at least form some mentorship programs.
Highlight our food systems, and which will attract persons from all over the world to come and experience something that actually supports the local economy.
We're lucky that we have a vibrant legal system that allows change to take place, and it's not that matters are just swept under the carpet and discrimination is allowed to be perpetrated.
A lot of people don't know that there were attempts to ban the carnival, suppress the carnival.
You are watching Strictly Legal on WESN Content Capital. Just give an overview of what exactly is that split arrangement.
Now you don't need to register nothing. We can do that another time. But then it becomes a hit, and then everybody starts to want to claim.
The laws that predate many of the independent countries' constitutions are going to be those colonial laws.
We know there are an infinite amount of circumstances that would lead to a murder.
I have a great idea and I have a great concept, but until it's actually expressed, it does not become intellectual property.
Accomplishments or targets of a forensic accountant is to quantify what may have been lost.
They believe in different criminals and we manipulated the law and we exploited the system.
A responsible journalist will reach out to the person who they have the information on for a comment.
The best for your baby is at thebesttoys.com. From the best strollers, car seats, baby carriers, high chairs, booster seats, rockers, jumpers and bouncers, walkers, baby blankets, feeding accessories, bathtubs. Visit us in-store at Forces Flagship McBean. Shop online now at thebesttoys.com. Order via call or WhatsApp at 332-BABY. And remember, we have the best toys at the best prices.
My name is Dr. Stephen Carroll, the CEO at Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist, and we are committed to making good private healthcare affordable.
For all your medical needs, including dental, radiology, laparoscopy, behavioral and mental health, along with many other services, contact us for more information at 235-5479.
Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
where good private health care is affordable.
Feeling drained? Struggling to keep up? It's time to take control of your wellness. On this episode of Wellness Unlocked, we're diving into the key nutrients your body needs for all-day energy and balance. With 100% or more of your daily essential vitamins, plus added chromium to support healthy blood sugar, this is complete wellness in a single soft gel. Join us as we uncover how small changes can make a big impact on your health. Don't miss Wellness Unlocked. Watch now on WESN and take the first step toward better health.
WESN.
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to AM Prime on WESN. I'm Newly Macnish.
And I'm Jada McLeod.
So this morning we are starting off the conversation. We have seen a high profile of criminal cases collapse in recent times, sparking serious concerns about the state of our justice system. From the dismissal of the long-running fraud case against the former travel agent Vicky Boudram to sharp criticisms of the DPP's office, many are questioning whether systemic failures are undermining public trust in the rule of the law. Joining us this morning is former Minister of Legal Affairs, Prakash Ramada, to help us unpack what these developments really mean and what must be done to restore confidence in the judicial process. Good morning, Mr. Ramada.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
In your opening, you said systemic failures, and I think that is exactly what we are reaping right now in terms of the number of cases that have been dismissed. In that matter, Vicky Boudram, I appear for co-accused in that matter, so I have to be very careful as to how I speak. So I shall not speak only to that matter, but the systemic failures in the judicial system. To restore this is crucially important, because if a society loses faith in its judiciary and its judicial system, then many will not turn to it to seek justice or to get, any level of comfort. And in particular, the criminal justice system has been laboring under many failures for very, very long. It is notorious in the society as to how long trials take from the moment a person is charged to the dismissal of the case or conviction. In many cases, you would have years. In fact, I did a trial in December last year that was 24 years old. 24 years old at the time. My client, his child was, a toddler. By the time the matter was concluded successfully in December, she was a qualified lawyer. I'm just giving that for context. And there are many cases that fall between that timeline. But what has happened, in particular in recent past, I have observed that many witnesses in the country are afraid after the initial report to the police and matters are processed and persons charged. Many are afraid to come forward because of the level of violence in the society and the fear that witnesses could be harmed or interfered with. And that is a real concern of a lot of people. So that when time would come for the actual trial, they're no longer interested, they're scared. Many passed away, many have left the country. So I think we need to restore that basic level, that those who participate in the system can be protected, or at least the evidence is such that no matter what, that evidence goes far, and therefore there's no will on the part of those who wish to see the trial not concluded to do anything, because the evidence standing alone without a live witness, there's no cross-examination, and your worst nightmare as defense counsel is where you cannot cross-examine witnesses. So I think we need to establish that we preserve evidence up front with or without the actual witness, in exceptional circumstances, of course. One of the other things that we've noticed is that the DPP's office, and we want to congratulate the officers of the DPP's department, who carry a burden that is far greater than the capacity of the numbers of prosecutors. They do so many different matters in so many different courts. And now that we have a modern system that has put deadlines for files and so to be prepared and brought forward, you would find that, whether good or bad reason, many of the deadlines are not being met. And what you would have seen recently is where deadlines have been put, and sometimes they got adjournments on them, at the end of which the court says, no, enough is enough, dismiss. Now, that is not all bad news, to the extent there are cases, of course, where once dismissed, indictable matters that could be relayed before the court. But that's not a healthy thing, you know? So those are some of the fundamental systemic issues that we need to deal with. There are many others, of course. Simple things like police officers who are not too caring about the matters because they know up front there are cases that have been filed where the evidence is very weak and it is used more for punishment to lay a charge rather than to expect a conviction at the end. They too have very little.
So, Mr. Ramadar, I just wanted to cut you there shortly. When it comes to a case like Vicky Boudram's case, what causes these types of systemic failures? If you could speak to that case in particular, what made it go on for so long? What was the process behind that made it go on for so long?
The bad news is that it's not unusual. So when we say for so long, that is the timelines that are normal in the courts. And in that particular case, as I indicate, I am in the matter.
Yeah, okay, but we can stay away from that case. But is it that it's written, the timelines are written out somewhere, or is it just laziness?
No, it's just about the availability of the courts to deal with matters. The availability of the prosecutors and the police to bring forward. That is, and I could just say this is a case with a lot of documents, and hundreds of pages. And the prosecutor, I was not present because in her particular matter, we were not involved directly. And what I read in the news is that the prosecution said they could not go forward even if they got adjournments. So I do not know the real reason as to why that matter was dismissed or in fact allowed to fall. But it is a normal timeline. And that, it is painful because, we have a presumption of innocence to begin with.
Yes.
If we are to believe in that, it means that persons who have charges hanging over their heads for all these years are being presumed innocent, at the end of which, if there's a trial, they may be either convicted or acquitted.
I could see
now,
that
I do not know.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
If we are sorry, yes?
No, please go ahead. You were finishing a thought.
Yes. The pain and anguish, not only of that accused person, but of their families. Good people who get in trouble for whatever reason they charge and put before the court, they cannot enjoy anything really. I've had this experience with clients over the many years that, the life is literally sucked out of them. They just exist with fear at the end. That is for good and decent people. So that justice delayed is justice denied is a double-edged sword, meaning that the accused who are innocent want their cases done as quickly as possible, having faith in the system that they'll be acquitted. The guilty, on the other hand, want it finished, yes, successfully, but are afraid in a way, and therefore there's an ambition for the cases to go as long as they possibly could, and hope at the end of which witnesses either die, do not come forward, or some systemic failure causes their cases to be dismissed.
So now, is
so
it
it's
that,
one of those balancing things.
yeah.
Yes.
Is it that right now there seems to be more trust from the criminals that the justice system would fail rather than the persons who may be innocent but sitting in fear?
I want to be very careful about that, because yes, there are persons who will have fear, that is witnesses coming forward, with or without threat, because they look around and they realize how easy it is for persons to be executed, intimidation to be exercised in all form of fashion. In fact, even in civil matters, I've had experience lately where they're afraid because there's a whole industry going on in this country that has not been looked at. Murder for hire executions, where persons, professional hitmen are used, and I have not seen many prosecutions on that end that take down those elements of gangs that kill for money, so that a person has an issue with another person, whether before a court or otherwise. The simple and quickest way to be rid of your problem is to go that route. So we have to be very, very careful with that.
So you sounded a bit far there. I hope you're still with us. But to continue, you mentioned that weak cases are sometimes pursued at the expense of stronger ones. This is something mentioned in an article that you wrote in Newsday. What recommendations would you have for the DPP's office on maybe prioritization?
Well, prioritization is exactly that.
Yeah.
In that, they should go through a filtration system. And there are cases really, I could tell you, that, really waste the court's time. But they're in the system, and they have to put the same resources in terms of processing until it is finally determined. So I know in other jurisdictions in Canada, many years ago, they went through a process where they, they filtered out, many matters and literally took the weight off the judicial system and made it more efficient. I could tell you there are cases that I am involved in, and you look and you wonder, why is this being pursued? But the ethos is that once it's there, we have to deal with it, and let the court decide. When in fact, really, at the end of which, it is really a comedy for those who enjoy these things, and a pain for all those who carry the burden to the end. So yes, I call for a filtration system. Look and see. And the old ways we used to call it tortured cases, that, really little possibility of a fair trial to begin with, and two, for a conviction. Now, when I speak to fair trial, how could it be fair? And I use the example of a 24-year-old case, where a whole life has gone, the memories of witnesses and of the accused are faded at best, and there's a sort of artificiality. But we go with documentary evidence and press on as if, what we get is the reality of what one speaks as distinct from what was recorded. So, the original Section 34 that was so demonized was intended after 10 years, if a matter had been filed and could not be proceeded with after 10 years, you apply to a court to have the matter dismissed. That was the original intent of Section 34, which was a healthy thing in a way, because it kind of forced the system to catch up to speed. This new system of deadlines, and so it was also intended for that. But what is necessary? We hear that police officers may not have access to the ability to type up the statements and to prepare secretarially documentation. Now, I understand that. Police officers are investigators. They go and they put their lives on the line for us. At the end of which you give them secretarial work. There was no administrative system, as far as I'm aware, effectively put in to take that burden off officers rather than to turn them into, office workers. And we need to fix that, so that when an investigation is done, the statements are produced. We have modern technology that you record orally in video and audio recordings with transcription services, so that the officers themselves do not have to trouble taking witness statements. You have the actual words and sight of the witnesses saying these things. It is transcribed and move forward.
So-
Simple things, yes,
Yeah.
but somehow difficult to implement. And if we don't do these things, we will continue year after year with the awfulness of matters being dismissed, officers, the good and decent ones, overburdened with many investigations and police work, having to trouble themselves with simple secretarial matters that cause the cases at the end to fall. We can fix this, and we must do so, but it takes resource allocation and a will to do it.
Who should ultimately be, I guess, accountable for when cases collapse? Is it the DPP's office, the judiciary? Who should we hold to that account?
I wouldn't single out any one except to say that at the end, it is the DPP's department that is responsible for the prosecution of matters. But they do not work alone. They work together with the police service. We all work together with the judicial system. And therefore, I think the burden has to be shared around, and we must understand that we are each other's keepers. We have to help each other in that process and not be adversarial to the extent that, I saw there was a very unhealthy discussion, put it mildly, some time back between the judiciary and the DPP's department. And I don't think that helped, settle the confidence of the nation. It looked as if they were at battle with each other when in fact we are partners in the same process. And finger pointing doesn't help. When you stick a finger out, really, there should be four looking, coming back towards you. So having said that though, we just can't use words. We have to use actions. I think it is about time that those who have the responsibility speak up within their own organizations, and how do we fix it as best as we can with the resources available. In terms of the police service, I think an immediate need is to create secretarial services for the police. It sounds almost comical and simple, but we have seen over and over that is where a lot of the problems arise, where officers, they have to take the complainants that is, and those other supporting police witnesses have to take a lot of time. I can't type well, I could do it finger by finger, and I'm sure there are many others who can't. But that is what they have to do. And we need to get rid of something as simple and fixable as that to begin with.
How do you think we can begin to rebuild confidence in the justice system for citizens to ensure that justice is fair and accessible to all? And I'm saying this because there are some citizens who would feel as though the system is stacked in favor of those who have connections or resources, and would feel like they can't get the fair justice that they deserve.
Well, that is a very loaded question. What can we do to restore confidence? The confidence is in this country is not just in, or lack of it, is in the judicial system. We've seen an attrition, an erosion, a corrosion of almost every independent institution in this country, where there is concern that many of our institutions are compromised. And as you rightly pointed out, those who have resources may have friends in certain offices. They may be able to influence things and therefore avoid the consequences of their actions, good or bad. What we do need though, and it happened in this country in the 90s, when a government took a decision, look, too much was too much, and they laser focused, and I would give an example of the prosecutions in Dolcedi, where resources were put in, and when it was thought that the state was smaller than some of these organizations, because of the cooperation with the DEA and the best of the best in Trinidad and Tobago, they were able to take a case from charge to preliminary inquiry, to trial, to conviction, to the execution of those who were found guilty of the matter. That sent a chilling effect that the state is bigger than any organization that is unlawful. And that, there's a statement, it sounds terrible, but there's validity in it. You kill one and scare 1,000. Sorry to use the term, but that's actually what is used. Meaning that you set an example that, yes, we can do this. And that you think you're big and you're bad out there, the state is bigger than any person or gang, let me put it like that.
Good.
And you put in necessary resources and say, okay, the day we deal with this one, tomorrow we come in for you. And that will send a very chilling effect on the criminal enterprise that has grown and flourished throughout the length and breadth at all levels in the society. We need that restored, that sense that we can do this and not allow smaller, I like to say, like gravel in your shoes to interfere with the long journey that we have to embark upon. Simple fixes, let's start with that and then go through and take on the big guys, right? You only hear about the small foot soldiers being dealt with. Law has been put onto our books in terms of plea bargaining. The Americans were able to basically rattle and to dismantle the mafia in the largest way because of plea bargaining, right? You take it up the chain. You went to jail for the rest of your life for a possible death sentence. You have evidence of those who gave the instruction and whatever. We put you in witness protection. We preserve your evidence even if the worst happens. The case goes forward, and you go up the ladder, and then you take one down. After a while, there's no ladder for them to climb. So these are the things. It's deeply philosophical, but at the same time very practical and reasonable. It's not easy, I assure you, but necessary.
Mr. Ramdar, we have to begin to close. My last question to you would be, what keeps you hopeful that meaningful reform is still possible?
Well, there are very good people in the system. I want to tell you this, contrary to the belief that, almost everything is bad and corrupt in the country. No, there are very good people. And that once they start speaking up and standing up, there's a whole statement, when one finds his spine, you would realize that many others strengthen theirs. So we need that example of leadership to get this thing done. And we have to start it like yesterday.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Ramdar, for coming on and for shedding some light.
Thank you for the privilege. Thank you. God bless this country. Thank you very much.
Yes, of course. Have a good day. All right, I think he's gone. So yes, that was Mr. Prakash Ramdar talking about some of the issues that are right now included into the justice system, why it's so difficult for it seems for the justice system to work. Yeah. So I really hope that you enjoyed that interview and you learned more. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back with you with our next and final guest for the morning. Stay with us.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
Maybe he landed here totally by coincidence. But if by chance he's admiring your fresh coat of Benjamin Moore soft sky blue, well, that's a pretty high compliment. Coming from an expert.
Remember waking up early just to catch your favorite cartoons? WESN brings back those magical mornings with Retro Saturdays.
Thus, the Powerpuff Girls were born!
Where the young at heart relive the fun. Join us every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 12 noon, only on WESN, the content capital.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website, www.fanzonett.com, for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website, fanzonett.com, to make your purchase today.
Do you need treatment for obesity or any related abdominal procedures? The community hospital now offers minimally invasive laparoscopic surgery done by an American-trained, board-certified surgeon with over 20 years' experience. Give us a call at 235-5479 for more information.
The Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
where good private health care is affordable.
Low energy? Heart concerns? Migraines slowing you down? It's time to take control of your health. Join Wellness Unlocked, the series that brings expert advice and real solutions for a healthier you. In our latest episode, learn how Jameson CoQ10 can help support heart health, boost energy, and even reduce migraines. Get the science, the stories, and the steps to power up your health with CoQ10. Don't miss Wellness Unlocked. Watch now on WESN and start your wellness journey today.
SM Group International Limited, your solutions partner for the latest innovations, brands, and competent staff to meet your needs. We provide products and services in the following divisions: executive services, event rental and services, power and heavy equipment, construction and property management, food and beverage, aggregate and sales and distribution. Check out more on our products and services at www.smgrouptt.com. Contact us at 221-7445 or email at info@smgrouptt.com. We are SM Group International, your solutions partner.
Money is something we all deal with, but how many of us truly understand it? What if you could make better decisions with your money? Decisions that secure your future, protect your family, and bring you peace of mind. I'm Darren Jacobs, and I'm here to help you make sense of your dollars. Welcome to Dollars and Cents, the show that breaks down the financial world in ways that matter to you. No jargon, no confusion, just real conversations about money, your money. So join me every Wednesday at 10 a.m. on WESN for Dollars and Cents.
Good morning and welcome back to AM Prime on WESN. So we're closing today's program with some real inspiration, some feel-good Friday on a Monday. You like that, Naomi?
Yes.
So our guest is a proud member of the Trinidad and Tobago Association of Masters Athletics. They've taken their passion for running to international heights, competing in the Berlin Marathon just this month. Today we got a glimpse into what fuels that drive, the discipline behind the training, and the joy of being a part of such a vibrant running community. So good morning and welcome, Ms. Janice Walters-Wilson. How are you doing?
Fine, thanks. Good morning and thanks for having me.
Of course, it's such a pleasure to have you on. All the chats we've had beforehand leading up to this, you are such a pleasant person.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so just to jump straight into it, what first inspired you to take up to marathon running, and when did you realize it was something you wanted to pursue?
Actually, it started as a bucket list item. I've always been into running, even from back in school, but I never really thought that I would have done long distance running, right? In 2009, I did UE half marathon. I had trained on my own. And at that point in time, I decided that, I want to take this to another level. I want to try and do a marathon, right? So at that point in time, I would have joined Road Runners, as the Trinidad and Tobago Road Runners, who, by the way, is having their 5-mile race down Chaguaramas on the 12th of October. And they are 40 years into existence. So they're not a very young group. They've been into this from a very long time. And I decided to join them to get my feet wet and do a marathon. Unfortunately, that never happened. When I saw the amount of training that had to take place to complete a marathon, I just decided that, you know, I'll just stick to the half marathons and the other shorter distances, right? But in 2019, I would say, I don't know, a bug kind of bit me, and I said, you know what, let me just cross this out. And and I decided to train, but we all know what happened in 2020. COVID came, I had to put a little pause on that. And then as soon as the airports opened, I spoke to my husband, and, you know, I said, you know what, I just want to cross it out. I want to do it. I want to see what it feels like. I've been hearing people talk about it. And one of my mentors, Mr. John Lumyoung, I would have spoken to him to find out which marathon would be the best one to start with, right? And we came up with Miami Marathon because the temperature is similar to here around January. Wouldn't be too bad, and then it's a one flight to the location. So I spoke to my husband, and that's how it started.
It happened when you got older.
Correct.
That's when you said, I'm gonna go full-fledged into it.
Correct. Yes. It wasn't. If I talk back to my younger self, I would have never thought that I would have been.
See yourself doing
no.
it,
And even when I saw the amount of training that you had to do, it wasn't something that I wanted to get into at that point in time. But it is that because I've been running so much, I decided that yes, this is something that I need to experience. I kept hearing people talk about it. I'm like, no, I need to experience this to myself.
How many marathons have you participated in?
So to date, my first marathon being in 2023, that would have been Miami Marathon. After that, I said, you know, it's not too bad. Let me try another one, right? And I heard about the World Masters, the World Major Marathons, right? So that's, at that point in time, was 6 major marathons. It's New York, Tokyo, Boston, Berlin, London, and I'm missing one, it's 6, right? So at that point, I'm saying, you know, I hear people talk about it, let me just put my hat in the ring and see if it is. And that time I would have signed up for New York Marathon. And surprisingly, to me, I got through. So in 2023, I actually completed 2 marathons. It would have been the Miami Marathon and the New York. And after New York, I'm like, well, okay, let me see. What's next?
So what is the training like?
Training, for me, it's not very bad. So there's a myth where people think that you need to run a marathon distance in training before you run an actual marathon, right? That to me is a myth. Yes, we do a lot of long runs. Now my longest run for marathon training, and this would be probably about a week or so before the actual marathon, would be about 20 miles. During the week, however, I will do like 2 to 3 runs. Those runs are probably about 7, 8 miles, which would include a level of speed work, tempo runs, fartlek. So you get the fast twitch muscles as well working, right? And then on a weekend, I'll do long runs. I supplement also doing a little cross training because I do strength training as well. I'll do that maybe on a Monday. And then on a Sunday, I cycle just to get using different muscles and getting your body accustomed. Because remember, you're going to be, well, I'm not Kipchoge and Sebastian, who would have done Berlin in like 2 hours and 2 minutes, right? So we have to be accustomed, try to get accustomed being on your feet for a very long time. So anything that you can do, so I would normally do the cycling, which would be probably between an hour to 2 hours, and then the long run on a weekend.
Right. For those of our viewers that is not familiar, can you just explain, you know, what exactly is a marathon? How long of a run is a marathon?
So a marathon is 26.2 miles or 42 kilometers. To put it into perspective, you know the Hazy Crawford Stadium, right? Right? So it's 105 laps of the Hazy Crawford Stadium.
Wow.
It is 8, because I know a lot of people do 5Ks. It's about 8 5Ks Just to put it in perspective, because I know just talking miles you may not understand, but if most people, because there's so many 5Ks.
Has done a 5K.
Correct.
I'm one myself. I love doing 5Ks.
Correct.
I think the most I've ever run is about 9K. Not even 10. I couldn't make the 10, but
that's good.
Yeah. So I can't even fathom or imagine 42K.
So don't worry. I mean, I was at that point. At some point in time, I was also there. But you see, it's not something that happens overnight.
Yeah.
It's training that happens over a long period of time. Yes. And then too, you could supplement, because marathon training is more aerobic. It's not anaerobic. So our sprinters, and they use more fast twitch muscles because they have to get from point A to point B very quickly. So they have to train and push themselves very hard. But with marathon training, I mean, things like hiking, walking around the savannah, you know, doing easy runs, because one of my philosophies is actually using 80% of my training is easy. So it doesn't feel like if it's a burden on my body. 20% is where I would do like more speed work and more the harder workouts where I would push myself. But 80% of the times I'm running easy. You would pass me around the savannah and say, well, look, she's just taking her time.
Yeah, so technically you're always training because you're always keeping up some sort of exercise.
Correct.
Yeah,
but
say it's just to stay consistent.
Consistency is the key. Exactly. That's the key.
So when it is you're going for one of the world marathons, what is the mindset shift that just changes from, okay, I walk around the savannah, so I'm preparing to run a marathon?
So I would say about 4 months before. Yeah, you have to try to put yourself in that zone where you, of course, you'd start the whole regimen with regards to the different types of routines that you have, even from a food perspective and diet and sleep. All those things changes because with running, I mean, your body tends to heal itself during sleep. A lot of people have short sleep times, right? I mean, 7-8 hours is ideal for a runner because that's the time when your body actually heals itself. So you make sure you get proper sleep. Diet is very important, of course, because you're running long distances. You need to make sure that you have a lot of carbs. So carb loading would start, protein, doing your electrolytes. I mean, we live in a very hot climate, so it is that you need to be drinking a lot of fluids, having a lot of water, not even while running, but even before running. So those are some of the things, and you have to shift your mindset because a lot of things will change. My husband, he laughs at me all the time, right? Because if he comes and he's like, okay, we want to go out on a Friday night, I'll be like, but I need to get back home early because I have to get up at 4 o'clock because my long run is on, it starts like 5 o'clock the next morning, right? So that whole paradigm would shift.
So in terms of, you mentioned food and diet, all these things have to change prior to preparing for the marathon. What for you, your experience, what was the diet shift that you implemented for your, on your journey? Yes, yeah.
I would have added more protein. I love pasta, so that was very easy for me to add a bit more pasta. Drinking more water, that as well is important. And because it is my diet is similar, all I needed to do is just kind of top up a bit more as to what I was already doing it. Right. Because again, it wasn't my first marathon. I just kind of continued that whole regiment. But coming closer to the marathon time, I will just increase a bit. Right. Protein definitely, because of course to help heal the muscle repair, right? So protein is something that I would have added.
And with regard to during your run, I know I've seen runners take like little, like gels and
Correct.
So
Correct.
Is this something that you did?
Yes. Yeah. So I also take gels. I use them probably about every 45 minutes during the long run. So now for marathon running, I completed Berlin in like 4 hours and 37 minutes, right? So the gels definitely something that you go with. What is important with the gels though is that you you use the gels while in training. There are many different types of gels in the market. And if you try something new on marathon day and it doesn't agree with you, I mean, so you have to train before. You have to train with the type of gel because, of course, different persons have different types of gels that would agree with their stomach better. So, of course, you try that. And then, while running, and it's more or less like eating, right? Because you have this gel. You have to also prepare yourself for doing something like that because for some people, it may not come naturally. They may actually want to stop and then take the gel and then drink water or things like that. But you have to practice running and eating at the same time.
What's the running community like, say, in Berlin or some sort of international community versus what we have here in Trinidad?
It's huge.
Yeah.
One of the eye-openers for me when I went across to actually the very first marathon, because you see like over 50,000 people in a race. I mean, we're not even accustomed to that. The eye-opener for me too was also Chicago. Chicago had a spectator viewing of 1.7 million. Now you're running on the streets and you're feeling like if you're in, it's Carnival Monday and Tuesday because the streets are lined with people and you're running along with, and this is not just a 5K, you're running along with 50,000+ people who are also doing marathons, right? The community in Trinidad and Bafa Sports, they recently concluded their midnight series, right? And coming out of that midnight series, because they had a 10K half marathon as well as a marathon, you saw a lot of new persons stepping into doing the marathon because it started at midnight. So, you know, the temperature is much better. And I could see where marathon running is going to grow locally just from Bafa Sports starting that midnight run because previously the marathon would start, yes, it would start early in the morning, but again, because we're running for such long times, exactly. So a lot of people coming in and you see them dehydrated and, you know, but with the midnight running, I think that the community locally is going to grow.
Yeah, I mean, and we can see that because I think Naomi started to get me into running a little bit. I walk run, if that makes sense.
No, but that's how you have to start, you know. You have to start somewhere. And
even when it comes to the midnight runs, I remember my mom and I, we were watching, it just appeared across our TikTok sometime. We were like, people are running in the middle of the midnight. And this is Trinidadians. We're not accustomed to seeing that. But we remarked that it is going to grow.
The temperatures are much better.
I don't know if it's just this generation is turning more to fitness. That is another conversation that we can have.
That is true, you know, coming out of COVID, because I think during COVID time, a lot of persons, they started hiking. You see a lot of people around the savannah. You see a lot of more, even from a 5K perspective, if you look back 2 years from now, the number of 5Ks that we have presently, and you compare it to 2-3 years ago, it has grown significantly, and which means that persons are now taking, you know, they're looking at themselves, looking at their wellness and lifestyles and well-being, and they're a lot more involved in, you know, taking care of themselves.
Is there an age in which people kind of lock off? Because for those who are listening, who, you know, they're probably older in age and they're like, I can't do that.
I've seen via social media people in their 80s, they're like running marathons. You know, I think it really doesn't matter your age. It just depends on your fitness level and how far you can push yourself.
And the commitment that you want to put into your training. And you're right, because even in Berlin Marathon, I mean, a number of persons passed me that you can visibly see that they're more older. They're much older than I am. And at one point, I'll be like, okay, I can run with you. And then I'm like, okay, you go. I'm running my race. I'm not running your race.
So, even when I did, when I do 5Ks, sometimes like
little children,
not even the kids, I'm talking about the elderly is zooming past me. And sometimes I'm like, no, Naomi, get it together. And I'll try to run up and catch them, but I can't stay with them. They're going this consistent, fast pace. And I can't do that, you know? So it really is just fitness level and consistency.
Persons tend to shy away, but you see, consistency is the key. if once you start, and you put one foot in front of the next, you'd realize, okay, one day I probably do like half an hour, next day I do 45 minutes, next time I do an hour, and you would see your fitness improving. And when your body realizes that changes is happening, you yourself would want to push yourself and go a little further.
How much does mindset play a role? Like if you can give a percentage in terms of how much mindset?
In a marathon, 100%. A marathon is a marathon. No, it's more. Okay, to be fair, 90%, right? Because it's more mental than physical, you know. Because, for example, with Berlin, in preparation, I think I would have done nearly everything that I did the last time. But what caught me with Berlin is that I wasn't prepared for the heat. Berlin's temperature, it was on that Sunday morning, it was 28 degrees, which is similar to our temperatures here. And the race started at 10:40. So you cannot tell a Trini to go and run a race 10:40 during the day and then run for 4 hours. So even with starting, I'm like, okay, it's a little hot, that's all right, I'm from the tropics, I could do this, you know. I had to continuously be telling myself these things in order to get from point A to point B. Thankfully, my husband as well, he was on the route with me. And prior, he would have said, okay, babe, I'll meet you at mile 5, mile 10, mile 15, mile. And because I had those mileage set in my mind, because as soon as I saw him, I need cold water. I'm handing him my bottle to get cold water, or he's, you know, giving me little tips and stuff to carry me through, because he realized too that it was a very difficult race. I think that was my most difficult race. And it's only because of the heat.
Right. I want to ask you, of all the marathons that you've run so far, which one would have been the most memorable or most rewarding for you?
The most rewarding was Chicago. And the race of itself, like I said, it was 1.7 million spectators. It was also my fastest run. My husband was there with me, and I also got to spend some time with my godson, who lives in Chicago. So for me, that was my most memorable run.
Yeah, what time did you make for that run?
4:14. 4 hours and 14 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So as we're talking about, you know, family here, do your children or family members run as well, or are they inspired by your journey?
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
So they to be fair, they'll go with me for 5Ks, right? And they're like, Mommy, you're the endurance runner, but I could beat you in a short distance race for sure, but you hold the endurance, you take...
Because it is different skills, right?
It is.
Speed and versus endurance.
Correct. But they're all into fitness. My 2 boys, they're into football. My husband is a footballer as well. My daughter, well, she's a swimmer in the family, and recently she would have, because she started UE, so this is her 2nd year, so she's now kind of getting back into things. And actually over the weekend, she's like, Mommy, I'm going to join the gym. I'm like, great. And she's into UE, and we're also doing the UE 5K and half marathon that's coming up next month.
Right. It's really nice to see when families can sort of support that fitness lifestyle or have that fitness lifestyle. So I'm glad that your children can look to you as saying, yes, you can be happy, you can also be healthy.
Correct.
As an example of that.
Yes, correct.
So how, sorry, go ahead.
No. Well, just in terms of when you're signing up for these marathons, what are the qualifications per se to get through to do a marathon, especially an international marathon?
It's lottery.
Really?
Pick a number and name out of a hat. So for me, because I haven't made the qualifying times as yet for my age group, right? The qualifying time...
It's about 3 hours something.
I'm not going to give my age because most people tend to ask me for ID when I do that. But the qualifying time for my age group is 3:55.
Wow.
Right? So if you make the qualifying times automatically, once you register, you're inside, right?
Okay.
With the exception maybe of Boston. Boston, even though it made the qualifying times, because there's so many persons, because that's like the pinnacle of all marathons. Most people want to run the Boston Marathon.
You haven't done that one yet?
No. Because I have to make these 3 hours and at least 15 minutes to try to qualify for Boston.
Right.
50 or 15?
5-0.
Okay.
Yeah, 5-0. 15, I was like, oh, okay. Maybe not in this lifetime, another lifetime.
You would.
Right, but outside of that, so if you don't make the qualifying times, then a percentage of the persons who register is via lottery.
Right.
Yeah.
So all the marathons that you have done so far was just it was a lucky pull of your name?
Besides Miami.
Right.
Miami, there isn't a qualifying time. Once you register, you get in.
Okay.
But for New York, Chicago, and Berlin, all lottery.
Wow.
Which was surprising to me because I started in 2023. And you see, once you put a goal in place, right? Because look at me, 2 years later, and I've done 4 marathons.
Yeah. So how has running shaped your approach to health and wellness and even just your everyday life? Because I mean, it's not just your physical aspect of it, it's sometimes even a spiritual life.
Correct.
All of these different things. So how has running kind of played a role in that?
Running, for me, is what I call, is very therapeutic. That's my me time. The amount of things that goes on in my head, because remember, if I go on a long run, my long runs are sometimes like 2 hours. And I plan my whole day. I know what things I have to do. I think about things that would have happened in the past, maybe if I could tweak things a little. So and then too, running with nature. When I start running, maybe it's about, let's say, 5:30. You see the sunrise, you hear the birds. All those things have to bring a natural joy to self. And I think that has really been the best part of running because it's my stress reliever. Yeah.
I've seen a good bit of dialogue on social media when it comes to runners speaking about running with headphones and music versus running without, and it's a kind of a debate because some runners are like, oh well, no, running with music helps because you have this rhythm and you can follow the rhythm of the song that you're listening to, and then other runners say it's a distraction and when you run without music, or if you can run without music, you kind of have this new or this found just realization of what you can do for yourself, etc., etc. So in your experience, have you tried both, running with music, running without? And
so prior to me joining TTRRC, I always ran with headphones, right? And I remember, and this is I think the turning point for me. I was in a race running with headphones on, and they were trying to get my attention because I was actually going the wrong way.
Right.
And they were calling my name, and I had the headphones in, and I did not hear a thing. And coming out of that, I remember, I believe it was either Joy or Larry from Roadrunners, they would have said that, no, we don't run with music because, again, it's a distraction. Look, somebody could have been running me down, and they were trying to alert me to say, well, look, something is happening, or watch out for a vehicle that's close by, or so on. I would have not been the wiser. So since then, and like I said, I started with them since 2010. I mean, it was a bit hard moving away from music to now not. But I sing all these soca songs, Jesus Loves Me, everything in my head. So the music now, instead of it being on headphones, it's in my head. But with Berlin, I should just mention, there are these new types of headphones. It doesn't sit in the earlobe itself, it rests on the side. So therefore you can still be alert because you can still hear things that's happening around, while you could also listen to music. That's a shock headphones. It was actually Berlin Marathon. They agreed to have persons because most marathons, they don't allow headphones. But for the first time in Berlin Marathon this year, they allowed the shock headphones because, again, it sits on the outer ear and not the inner ear.
Is marathoning expensive? Give us a short answer.
It is. Especially if it is you have to travel to another country. If you have family in those countries, then, I mean, that take away from, you know, the hotel fees and stuff. But if you do it, yeah, because besides the travel fee, even the registration fee, sometimes registration is like $200 US, right? Remember, you still have to buy your supplements, your shoes, your clothes. So it tends to be a expensive sport.
When it comes to shoes, what is your preferred running shoe? I know that's also a big conversation. Okay.
I'm wearing it to my sleeve, Adidas, yes, correct. I've tried a couple of them, but Adidas is the one that tends, maybe because I'm flat-footed. So again, everybody is different, right?
Yeah.
Because of the shape of their feet. Some people have wide feet, some people have narrow feet. But for me, Adidas is the brand that fits me best.
Yeah.
So you're wearing BMW Berlin Marathon.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about the Berlin Marathon, and please show us your medal. Or medals.
So this is the Berlin Marathon medal. My husband, he also jokingly says that he's doing the 5K World Majors because I run the marathons and he does the 5Ks. So he did the Berlin 5K.
Oh my gosh.
Probably, I think it's this one.
Yeah.
Right?
Beautiful.
And this is the
Oh, that is so
right?
cute.
What was nice too about the Berlin Marathon, behind has I'm not sure if you could see it, but it has, it has the course on the the outer side of the medal.
And just to think that that's a run. That's 4 hours. That's a run.
Yes.
Guys.
Yes.
That is huge.
Anyway, thank you so much for
is
showing
so
that to
big.
us. And well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
What I want to ask though, I really want to. So when I do a run, a longer run, the following day, I get the worst pains in my legs. I can't walk. I feel like I just did, like, you know, when you do leg day at the gym and you're just sore. So that's for me, right? Now, when I do like research and I see other runners talk about it, some say, well, after a run, you should not necessarily stretch, but try to get like they jump on their legs, or they get some sort of like a muscle vibrator kind of to relax your muscles, and just, you know, for a couple hours. And so I know there should be some sort of recovery after a marathon, especially. Can you speak on that, or can you give what is your recovery?
So what happened to you there is lactic acid buildup, right? And that's because you're not using the muscles. You haven't been running regularly, and then you just jump into a 5K. Your body is like probably in shock. What is near me doing?
But the thing is, at least once a week, I might run a 5K.
Okay.
Right? But
again, to be consistent, right? So what I do too, after my runs, I would stretch. Now, there are two different types of stretches, right? So they're like dynamic stretches and they're static stretches. So you do dynamic stretches, which is quick stuff, before you run, and then after you do static, right? Where you try to hold the positions for at least 30 seconds. I mean, I went to a chiropractor one time and he's like, 30 seconds is not enough. You need to hold at least for 1 minute, right? But that helps. So stretching after you run helps. Another thing that I do after my long runs, I have these compression boots. So it's like a big, think of it like a pants, something that you pull up, and then it feels like when you're doing your blood pressure, you know how you feel? Right. So that's what it does. It compresses the muscles, it compresses the legs, and that for me has been helping. I've been using that probably since 2014, and that tends to help. After Berlin Marathon, we were fine. We were walking. We had to go to the subway to get transport, so we were walking down the stairs even after, because traveling back home, I thought I would have been in a lot of pain.
I would have demanded to be carried. I would have wanted a chariot.
No,
That sounds like a lot, yeah.
but it's of course because of the consistent running that I've been doing.
Yeah.
That helps, and then the stretches and those things.
Noted.
Yeah.
So as we begin to wrap, what advice do you have for persons who are listening and they're now getting into marathoning or any long distance running? What advice would you give them?
So first of all, I would say just start. Marathon running may not be for everyone, but living a healthy lifestyle is. So even if it's a 5K, if it's a hike, if it's a walk around the savannah, movement is very, very important, especially saying that we're all getting older and we need to ensure that we do some level of movement, right? So my advice would be I'm wearing Adidas, but I would say just do it, right? Just do it. Just get out there and do something. I mean, Trinidad has so many beautiful places, that waterfalls that you can find from just hiking. Even right at the top of Lady Chancellor, you can go up Breezy. You could see, when you get to the top of Breezy, I mean, it is one of the most beautiful sights when you could do like a 360. You see all Marval, you see the savannah, you see the Twin Towers. It's such a beautiful place, and we have so many beautiful places in Trinidad.
Last week I went to Mount Honolulu,
right?
And that killed me. I was like,
Mount Honolulu
it was intense.
It is, especially coming to the last hill that looks like if it's watching you in your face.
So intense, and I started from I parked down by Massey. And I started from there and I went all the way up. It took me about 2 hours.
But that's very
a little less than 2 hours.
But that's commendable.
Yeah.
You want to go, because Honolulu is actually one of the harder places to hike or walk, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, it was, but I can't, I mean, when I did that, I'm like, and again, my legs, the next day, my legs were, I couldn't walk, I couldn't.
That's the lactic acid buildup. So again, once you start to be a little more consistent, you would see where that will actually tend to go away after a while.
But the idea of marathoning, when you finish it, even though it hurts, maybe, especially when you're just starting out, what happens afterwards is a big reward, because there's a sense of, I did this, I can do this. I remember my first time completing a hike, I was like, I can actually do things, I can be superwoman. It gives you that feeling. So I'm guessing if you're doing it so much, over and over and over, it builds a sense of discipline.
It does.
And a sense of confidence in yourself.
It does.
Yeah, so that is one of the big rewards. Undervalued reward, in my opinion.
Agreed.
But finally, what is next for you, Janice? Any upcoming races or goals on the horizon?
For me, so as I explained, there are 6 world major marathons, right? I've already completed 3. 3? Yes. So I'm going I'd like to complete my 6th star. So I have Boston, Tokyo, as well as, there's a third one. Boston, Tokyo, and
finding out.
London. Yes, London.
Yeah, Tokyo, Boston, London,
right.
Chicago,
London
and New York.
London is the other one.
I would love to hear from you after the Tokyo one. At least how you prepare, and because that not only is that lots of travel,
because that's like nearly 2 days of travel.
And then to come back afterwards after running a literal marathon. Yeah, that would be a lot. But I would love to hear from you once that is done.
Okay, sure.
But congratulations on this completion, and for sharing with everybody that this is possible.
Yes, of course, it's possible. Like I said, I mean, it wasn't something that I had planned, but again, to get it off the bucket list, and you never know. You just try something, you never know, you might end up liking it. And this is me after taking it off of my bucket list 2 years later and actually doing 3 more marathons.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Denise, for sharing your journey. So it's inspiring to hear how, dedication and discipline can actually transform your life. It was on a bucket list, and then look at her now, right? Rocking Adidas. And I see you. So we wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
Of course. Thanks for coming on.
Okay.
All right. So for our quote of the day, because we usually do a quote of the day coming down to the end of the show, you said something, and I don't think you realized how profound it was, but it was, marathoning may not be for everyone, but a healthy lifestyle is.
I
love that.
That is so true.
Yeah, that's cool for today.
Yeah, that's a quote for today. I'm sorry, I had to use it, So again, marathoning may not be for everyone, but a healthy lifestyle is. All right. So we can use the tips that she gave us, and of course, just look at your lifestyle. We always know that the little things that we have to do to improve the quality and the health of our lifestyle. So start today, do it today. Pick one habit and do it today. Yeah?
Yes.
Agreed.
So thank you so much for tuning in and for sharing the morning with us on AM Prime on WESN. As always, you can engage with us on WESN TV, WESN CC, or you can WhatsApp us at 682-9376, 682-9376 if you want to reach either Naomi or myself, or even Janice over on social media. Where can people find you?
I am Janice.
I am Janice?
Yeah, I am Janice. It's very easy.
It's very similar to mine. My own is I am Jada McLeod.
Oh, nice.
I am Jada. So in terms of the spelling of your name, can you just clarify?
It's Jeunesse, which also means youthful. So I'm youthful as well.
And you can see it's
Very, yeah. It is you. Definitely.
All right, so reach
What you can do, because it's a private account, but anybody who wants to follow me, you can actually type WESN, send me a message, and I know that you would have listened to the program, and I would add you. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys, so that brings us to the end of this morning's show. Stay safe, stay inspired, stay informed. And we have Sean Michael Small in the hour of 8 o'clock with Talking Points, so don't go too far. We'll see you back here again tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.
WESN.
Maybe he landed here totally by coincidence. But if by chance he's admiring your fresh coat of Benjamin Moore soft sky blue, well, that's a pretty high compliment. Coming from an expert.